It takes more than 8 bits to be a great software engineer. This is episode 512. Dun, 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 dun. The 9th bit of the Soft Skills Engineering Podcast. Yes. I'm your host, Jamison Dance.
I'm your host, Dave Smith.
Soft Skills Engineering is a weekly advice show for all of the non-technical things that go into the technical field of software development, like trying to explain binary in English words. I guess that's not technical. Actually, no. That is technical. The non-technical bit is the judgment to know I should not be explaining what binary is right now.
Can you believe it took us 10 years to go above 8 bits?
I think we're moving faster than the computer industry did early on.
That's exactly what I was just wondering. Did we break out of 8 bits faster than the computer industry?
I think they'll catch up to us, though. I think it's going to take us a while to get to, like,
64
bits of podcast episodes.
It might take a little while.
Yeah.
I don't know how many, like, millions of trillions of years it will take us, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
But we're committed.
Yeah, we have just like, and if the questions keep coming, we have content. We don't have 64 bits of questions, but we have enough to keep going for a while.
Yeah, we do.
And they continue to grow faster than we answer them. So
my doctor told me that as long as the questions keep coming in, I will stay alive.
Oh, good.
Doctor or wizard? I can't remember which one.
Is that a witch doctor? A combo doctor and wizard?
That's right. That's exactly what that is.
Oh, thank you if you have stuck with us this long. And welcome if you are just joining because you figured 512, that's a good number to start listening.
Yeah, that's where I start. I usually wait till podcasts get to the 9th bit.
Yeah. Filters out the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah. That 8-bit garbage.
Dave, do you want to thank our patrons?
Yes, I do. Big shout out to those that are contributing at a level where we say their entire Patreon name, their profile name, every week. I'm already laughing and I haven't even started reading them. Actually, I did read the first 2 words of the first one. Oh my gosh. Oh, every week people find new ways to make me just absolutely laugh. That's why the doctor said it will make me live forever, is because I keep reading these Patreon names. And you know, what do they say about laughter and medicine or something? An apple a day is the best medicine with laughter, something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's how it goes. Okay.
Don't laugh while you eat the apple, and then it will be good medicine.
Yes. Okay, the big thanks to a dinosaur full of energy tried to use a computer and telephone to understand gravity while an orchestra played softly during... Okay. Oh, gosh, another one of these. I want 4 T2.
Okay.
Oh, I wish you knew how this stuff was spelled. AI made me a top code producer. Company went bankrupt. Error. Your Will Angel name variant must contain at least 1 uppercase letter, 1 number, and 1 special character. No one knows my real name is Seth Angel. Angel. I thought this was a funny name, but you didn't laugh. Now I feel self-conscious. Will Angel, if you can hear me, please save us. I want to put no carrier in my tombstone, but if I live long enough, no one will get the joke. My actual name on LinkedIn is Yami. Debugging in the Dark Canny, the mobile development ordinaire. First of his name. Name his of first ordinary development. Mobile the Canny, Dark the in debugging. Yanni. Oh, you did not spell that right. Someone put in parentheses SP question mark. Nope. You didn't get it. Jacob Shandling. Kavaluti o for Kavanturti, or as my mother used to say, Fitte Kalitha Husnitha. The missing semicolon. Will Angel, please report to HR over your recent transformation into crab. Help. Nick Molyneux, embedded engineers treat assembly the same way TypeScript engineers treat JavaScript. Javier Gonzalez, Chewy, Meow Mix, Angel Drone deploy salted fries. Ooh, that's a throwback. What happened to unsalted French fries? Are morally objectionable.
I think they compromised their morals.
Yeah.
They were gotten to by big French fry
big
or
French
big
fry.
salt.
Big salt got to them. That's who it was.
Wait, no, I guess it'd be big unsalt. Maybe they were big salt. They got brought down low by some plucky rebels.
Oh, that's what it is. Yes, it's the big low sodium.
Yep.
Okay. Where did I leave off? Oh my goodness. Ted Timbrell Chewy. 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 Ted Timbrell. A single open paren. Dan from Drone Deploy. Never is not just a crater on Mars. Flamingo emoji. I like chicken. I like liver. Meow mix. Meow mix. Please deliver. Swiss Python Summit on the 22nd and 23rd of October 2026. Kyle Boss. Kent C. Dodds. Slowing down. Jenny Kim. The Stochastic Parrot. Will Angel move to... Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It's back. The longest city name on Earth. Okay, here we go. I was able to say this at one point. Lanfuer Pwilgwingilo Gogoric Wern Sile Gogogoch. Go. All right. Ira Chan, Jonathan Kings, and I, beautiful functional user documentation. If I were Angel, I wouldn't. Crab now on your phone at vote.williamangel.net. Dave's serial killer name, Dave Smiles. Adding inside jokes to your agents.md in your personal repo is still technically a team-building exercise. Braden Keynes, John Grant, Brittany Ellick. Will Angel go to /new cough. May 27th or 28th. Oh my gosh. Will he? Will Angel. And finally, close parenthesis followed by a single literal closing paren. Oh my goodness. You did it again, team. Wow. It's amazing. I normally have to pay for this kind of entertainment, and you paid us to entertain us. It doesn't work economically, but it works in my heart.
Yeah, this is the power of friendship, which transcends economics. It's time for me to bring back my old favorite stupid name joke, which is, imagine there was a guy named Big Mac and his nickname was Big Mac, and then he would be named Big Mac Mac. And I see Will Angel, and I think, what if Will Angel's nickname was Will Angel, and then it'd be Will Angel.
Oh,
it's pretty good.
Big Mac Mac? I don't quite get it.
Like big, and then quotes Big Mac, and then his last name's Mac.
Oh, kind of like how you put your nickname between your first name and your last name?
Yeah.
Like Dave Smith.
Big Dave. Or
yeah.
Dave
okay,
Big
I got
Mac
you.
Smith. Or like, you know.
I got you.
Dave the Destroyer Smith. Wait, am I supposed to leak your last name?
Oh, whoops. No, I say it every time.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And so do you. You got me for a moment. I was like,
wait, no.
I was like, oh, what have you done? We've kept
my
our
pseudonym.
We've kept our identity secret for 10
Everyone knows
years.
my last name is Smith.
It took 9 bits to
my
leak
unique
my identity.
identifier. Okay, we better get to a question.
Yeah, we should. We've spent all the bits. Now let's do the questions.
Yeah, I will read it. I think this is from an anonymous listener who says, should I declare my struggle with this AI world we live in here? Nah, I mean, I'd like the hype to die down a lot, but we keep getting new tools and I get to experiment. So here we are. My real struggle, and this podcast is implicated in it, is around non-technical people contributing to production systems. Why are we so obsessed with this idea? COBOL tried it. Low code and no code tried it. BDD and Gherkin aspire to it. Yet time and time again, the field demonstrates that you need people who know their stuff. To democratize software engineering implies that all people have the desire and ability to become software engineers. That premise is false. You democratize access to education or financial systems. The stock markets say you don't democratize skill. Skill is earned. We would never, I hope, democratize bridge engineering or piloting an aircraft. Software engineers are just as critical as either. When our software breaks, money goes missing, electrical grids fail, information stops flowing. What I do think is great, now more than ever, as long as tokens stay cheap, people have more ability to build useful tools for themselves. But here's how I think about it. We have done tremendous work on literacy, and most people can read, but not everyone is an author. The same applies to code.
You know, I picked this question, and it wasn't until you just finished reading it that I realized there's no question in this.
Yeah, the question is, how dare you?
Yeah. Whoops.
I guess they say, why are we so obsessed with this idea?
Yeah, of democratizing software engineering.
Yeah.
Look, I actually do believe everyone can be a pilot. So I don't know if your premise is all that good. Just get in the cockpit. How hard could it be?
If you're not like a commercial airliner pilot, you do crash a lot, kind of a lot.
Yeah.
Like the people who are pilots that aren't flying the big jets seem to fall out of the sky fairly often.
Yeah, it's like way worse than driving.
Yeah.
This is like the one reason I don't have a private pilot's license.
Yeah. That, and we just need a few more Patreon supporters.
There are 2 reasons.
Dave wants to start at the very expensive private jet level.
Yeah, I want to skip all the boring stuff.
Yeah, none of this boring little prop plane thing. Yeah, let's talk about it. One of the premises of the question is we are democratizing software engineering. And I don't think we are. I don't think what I see when people who aren't programmers contribute to prod code base, I would not call software engineering. I would call it changing code with robots.
Okay. All right.
But up until now, we have not made it so that this can just happen. I mean, even for engineers, like you don't just type. Most people, I think, who are using robots to write code in work contexts don't just YOLO it to prod. Like there's some human review and oversight and work and planning, and it's not just you dump your thoughts into an LLM and then it goes to prod that way.
Mm-hmm.
And all that stuff is software engineering is wrapped up in all those bits.
For now.
Yeah.
Until we fully democratize. Until we democratize the democratization.
The biggest bottleneck we have around technical output at work right now is verification and quality, because that stuff is hard to do with robots. We've made some attempts at fancier lint rules, and we've talked about this a little bit, like making the system more self-driving, and it's helped, but it hasn't solved it yet. And what is my point of this ramble? The point of the ramble is I don't expect that non-engineers contributing to code will produce the same quality of output as engineers. And I don't expect that it will make engineers' jobs easier. I think it'll make it harder, because now they have to like review and babysit code produced by non-engineers.
In other words, like the filter that used to prevent bad code from getting here actually prevented all code from getting in front of you.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't prevent any code because people tell robots to do the code part.
Yeah. Yeah, but the hypothesis is it's still worth it for the business. And I guess we'll see if this pays off or not long term. But it's not everyone can do a software engineering things. It's everyone can produce code somehow. And then you still have to get it to prod. And getting it to prod is the tricky bit, getting it verified and maintainable, or deciding this is not a thing that is like this part can be crap.
Yeah.
It's still some judgment there.
Yeah, there's a whole world of like stuff that tolerates crap code, right?
Yeah.
And that world prior to AI coding tools, that world was 0% served. You know, like there was just no one who could actually produce anything useful for themselves to use like on their desktop. And now you can. But that's not really what the question asker is asking about, right?
Yeah, I think the question asker is saying we should stop expecting non-software engineers to do software engineering just because they have LLMs that can help them write code. And I guess I don't think that they are. Also, sometimes software engineers don't do software engineering. Like, I could write bad code way before LLMs existed and not understand what it was doing and the implications. And
even when I thought it was good code, it was sometimes bad. It was kind of weird. Like pilots, when they crash the plane, like none of them walk away. Well, sometimes they don't walk away at all. But when they do walk away, none of them go, man, that was some great flying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And only like years later, they're like, maybe that wasn't good flying, when they review their own black box. That's how I am. I'm like, I wrote code 2 years ago. I look at it today and I'm like, this is horrible.
Yeah, I can just see the last blog post I read like spewing out of my fingers.
Exactly.
Getting really excited about this random pattern that turns out to not fit.
You're like, I am nothing but a recency bias machine.
Yeah.
But I'm much slower than the AI machines.
Yeah, I guess I think I agree with you in some ways that, yeah, I don't think we're trying to say software engineering is democratized, but there are people pushing for that still. And I don't think the role of expert humans will go away anytime soon.
In this field.
Yeah.
I mean, it clearly can't go away in some fields. Like the pilot thing, I mean, well, okay. Let's just be super clear. If the question is about democratization, so I'm going to take a slight detour on that question. But computers can fly airplanes better than humans already today.
Yeah.
And I don't actually know why we have humans in the cockpits of airplanes anymore, other than as like a backup for those super rare cases where the airplane can't get it right. And I don't know, maybe that's the future of software. You know, the difference between pilots or airplanes and software, at least one of many, is the ratios are all weird. You know, like a pilot, like a commercial aircraft needs 2 pilots up to oversee that thing. And you kind of have this ratio where it's like you got a few hundred people on the plane and 2 pilots. And that ratio is never really going to go up. Like 2 pilots can never fly a plane for 10 million people. You know, but on the software side, like you create a web application, and you could easily have one engineer create a web application that gets used by millions. And so, what keeps those ratios where they are, like in the pilot world, just doesn't really apply to the software world.
Yeah, why do we have humans? Is it because like autopilot is good for the normal stuff and better than humans at the boring normal stuff, and then sometimes you have to like land in the Hudson River and get a movie made about you, and the autopilot can't do that bit?
And the autopilot would be like, I'm going to go crash this plane into an empty building to make sure that we minimize human death.
Yeah. Yeah.
I honestly don't know, but I do know that even private pilots have very good autopilot tools, and I've sat next to them in a cockpit before, and they've talked me through it, and it's like really smooth and really great. And he was like, "Here, I'll go off autopilot," and I'm like, "Wow, this is a much worse ride." when your hands are on the yoke,
you are so much worse.
Like it's true. I mean, he's kind of up and down and kind of side to side and constantly correcting, and the computer was just making micro corrections a lot, both faster and smaller magnitude. It's just a better experience overall. But I guarantee you, the moment he hit some crazy turbulence, the pilot would be like, "We're turning this autopilot off. I got this," and probably would do a better job. But I don't really know. Anyway, I think the point still stands of the question asker. We do not ever really intend to democratize access to the cockpit. We don't want random people walking in off the street and being like, "Well, I'll pilot this plane, I guess," full of 300 passengers.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, we want an expert up there to oversee this thing, or else you're going to freaking die. Now, bridge building, you mentioned like civil engineering and bridge building. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, there's not as much demand to democratize bridge building because we just don't build that many bridges as a ratio of like humans to bridges. It's like of humans building bridges. It's just not that many. There's not demand. Like, I don't need a bridge tomorrow, but I do need like 50 apps to live my life now.
They're also very expensive. Like, say you didn't need a license to build a bridge. I would then need $700 million somehow.
Concrete and labor.
Great. Access is democratized.
Yes. Software is just so weird in so many ways. And every time we make comparisons like this, it just falls apart because the ratios don't work. The cost doesn't work. The barriers to entry don't work. Like, it just doesn't transfer. And so, I don't know. I mean, but I will say, like, for sure, one of the things that this question asker said that is like 1,000% true is that to democratize software engineering implies that all people have the desire to build software. And most people just don't want to make the products that they use. They don't want to design them. Yeah. They don't want to manufacture them. And I'll give you like the best example of this I can give is 3D printing. Like, for years, everyone said, "Oh, you're never going to have to go to the store because your 3D printer will make the stuff you need." And I'm like, that is such a pain in the butt. Like, nobody, like, I love it for hobbyist stuff, but nobody has a 3D printer in their house where they're like, "Oh, I need new silverware. I'll just 3D print that instead of going to, like, here's a better one. I need plasticware. If I'm holding a picnic and I want to have disposable plasticware, like, I'll just 3D print the forks and knives. No, I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to spend $3 on plastic and I'm going to throw it in the trash when I'm done." Which is horrible too, but it's just different. People don't want to they don't want to design, and they don't want to manufacture products for the most part. Like, I would say at least 90% of the population does not want to do that.
If you are an engineer working at a place, at a company where non-engineers are contributing to the code base, first, just your AI use and your fellow software engineers' AI use has created more code for you to review already, even without non-engineers writing code. Mm-hmm. I sympathize with the changing balance of time spent in review and verification. And I can see it being frustrating that a lot less of your time is going to creating stuff yourself. Like, you very rarely just sit down for 6 hours and think deeply through a problem and type the code out to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. And if you then add, okay, non-engineers are now contributing code also, you have even more code to review that's probably done in funkier ways. And then you also add this new problem of, okay, if we want to make it easy for non-engineers to produce, air quotes, good code, then we have a meta problem of building the system that encourages it. And maybe I don't want to work on that. I just want to like build the app. So I can see why this is frustrating.
Yeah.
But I think the end goal is, what is the end goal? I don't know. I mean, the business wants more stuff done so they can make more money. I guess that's part of why we're doing it where I work, is we think it will make customers' lives better. And there are trade-offs with that. It's not free.
Yeah, it is. It's the case. Now, Jamison, you and I have both really tried to lean into this concept at our companies to get more people to contribute code to the code base, in a sense. So in my company, I haven't fully democratized it, but I don't know what you would call it if there's a small circle of people who can do something, and I want to expand that circle to like their nearest neighbors. That's kind of what I did. Like, I want to expand the circle to user experience designer, product manager roles.
You moved from a dictatorship to an oligarchy.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we're the rich plutocrats that
Yeah,
control
that's right.
everything instead of just the one person. Yeah.
I didn't want to be an emperor. I wanted to be a plutocrat among friends.
Yeah.
Perfect. Plutocrat oligarch. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do. And I'll tell you, I actually would like to share the results. The results have been that, and I'm just talking specifically in contributing code to our product, our customer-facing production product. The results have been not great. Mostly it's because of problems getting the code deployed. So, for example, this week, I had a product manager who just wanted to change a link target. There's literally just a basic hyperlink on a page in our app, linking out to some help documentation, wanted to change the URL that it was pointing at. And because of some quirks in our deployment process, which admittedly could be fixed, could be improved, but because of some quirks in our deployment process, this product manager did successfully make the link change, but also deleted a feature from our web app that had previously existed, that had just launched, and it was like right on the heels. So those of you who are savvy can piece together exactly what our deployment pipeline looks like now, based on what you just heard me say. But don't worry, there are pros and cons to it, and I love it, even though we have this risk. But he deleted a feature, and we had just announced the feature was launched and it was live, and then people were like, "Wait, I don't see it," and we're like, "Oh crap, what happened?" So if something that basic, like changing a link target, can result in something that catastrophic, I don't think we're anywhere near democratizing software engineering for actual product used by more than just the people who developed it.
I'm just going to say skill issue. Sounds like you guys are bad. No. That's a negative result. Were there other changes that were made that were positive and this just like way overshadowed those? Or was it pretty much the only outcome was it deleted a feature and we didn't get anything useful out of it?
I mean, we were able to restore the feature. It wasn't like he like completely just wrecked everything. It was a quick fix, and it's things we've had happen before. So it wasn't like a nightmare scenario. But still, it was like it should be very, very easy to change link text or a link URL, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's still not. I'm sure in some scenarios and some code bases it is, but not in ours, which makes our code sound horrible. That's not actually the case. It was just now I feel like I have to defend it. Oh man, what have I done?
Have we broke stuff in prod? I mean, we shipped some things. My company is a bit smaller than Dave's company. I think the circle of people who've actually made changes is still fairly small. It's all people technical or technical adjacent in customer support or design or whatever. And we've shipped a bunch of features, things that never would have been prioritized or done without democratizing access. Some of them customers really love and use.
Oh, that's cool.
Like I said, it hasn't been free. Presumably, we would have had more just kind of core raw engineering work done on the main track of stuff we picked to do. But it feels like a good trade-off for us.
Oh, so in other words, you didn't actually democratize every part of the process, but like the code writing part, people contributed code and then engineers had to review it?
Yeah, people submit pull requests and then the engineering team still reviews and merges or gives feedback or takes it over. And
got it. So it's easier to like prototype new stuff.
Yeah.
The democratization has happened at the prototype, like proof of concept layer.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's some things that are easy that just, obvious bug fix, small scope.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. And some things that get submitted and we say, you have no idea the fiery flood of lava that this would unleash. And of course, we don't expect you to, but here's why we cannot do this. And then some in between.
And there's a surprising amount of that in software. I think a lot of people just don't appreciate the implications of seemingly small changes.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, you make that change. Well, that actually affects 7 other workflows in our product that you did not think about, and now they're all broken.
Yeah, some of the stuff that we have shipped has had some bugs that required some follow-up, but none of it has just been broken. And I think, knock on wood, it hasn't broken other stuff too badly that I'm aware of up until now. So I think it's been broadly positive. It just is a trade-off of the engineering team spends more time than they used to reviewing these code contributions from other people.
Yeah, and that's all. And what's crazy is our engineers are already spending way more time in code review than they have in the past as a ratio of their overall time spent. And so when you now expand the circle of Plutarchs to contribute more code, there's even that amplifies that problem.
Yep.
I say problem like only because most people don't like to spend all their time reviewing other people's code.
It's hard. I mean, it's exhausting in a way that creating your own stuff is not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have we answered the question? I feel like we keep forgetting what the question even is, but
that's because there's no question.
Yeah. I'm interested to see where it goes. And like all things, there'll probably be a spectrum. There are places that never, ever do pair programming and places that always do pair programming. And I think this is another one of those axes on which you can place your software practices.
Yes.
Only engineers contribute to the code, or literally anybody can, or anything in between.
I'll share my final thought on this, which is to answer a question that is implied in here, which is that, well, really, stated out loud, why are we so obsessed with this idea of allowing non-engineers to contribute code to these projects and democratizing the process? And I will say this. I believe the population is starting to become unimpressed with AI output. You know, we're on that hedonic treadmill. And so when someone shows up at my door or in my email inbox or in my Slack DMs with like a 17-page PDF file containing what looks like very dense, valuable information, 3 years ago, I would have been like, wow, incredible work. I'm sure you poured over every word in here and you carefully wrote this.
Yeah. This is so long. You must have thought so much about this.
Yes. And now when someone does that, I'm just like, next. Like, I don't even want to read it. I'm like, I bet you haven't even read this.
Yeah. Yeah, there were two options. Either you were schizophrenic, and this is a time cube thing, or you thought very deeply about it. And now there's a third, which is AI. You do not value my time at all.
Yeah, you AI slopped me.
Yeah. And
people will just pass that to me, and they I gotta say, like, the faces they wear when they put these documents in front of me are like, they're like expecting me to be like, wow, great work. But I'm like, I know what you did to create this. I know.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is not high quality work.
We are learning what this says together
right
now.
Exactly. So, like, do you expect me to be impressed? Like, I'm just not. And it's not because, you know, I don't know. So I don't do that to people. But the point I'm trying to make here is that I think collectively we are approaching that level of I'm unimpressed by your high quantity of stuff you produced, whether it's a giant PR, whether it's a really cool picture, or whether it's a long PDF specification or something. We're just like, I don't care anymore. Like, it's gone from wow to, oh no. Like, I have to read this thing. So I think with that, we're also going to see this frenzy around democratizing software engineering also subside.
Yeah, you could call it gatekeeping, but also filtering. A gatekeeper is also a filter. There's some vouching for quality, and interesting times.
I'm going to tell one story real quick about this, and I promise I'll stop talking about this topic, but it is kind of interesting and timely. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to implicate, let's just say, someone very influential in my business. Not my boss.
Okay.
Had a very important question about our business, which is our business protected from an AI just cloning our software and then we go bankrupt? And this is the question that I think many businesses are asking themselves, is what's stopping our customers from building what we already have themselves and then canceling their subscription with us?
Yeah.
We're a B2B SaaS company. This is a question we're all asking ourselves. And one of these people, these very influential, important people in my circle of, I'll say Plutarchs or oligarchs in the sense that they're business influential but not writing code, they were like, well, I'm just going to tell AI to create a clone of your company, of your product. And so they did. And it put something on a browser screen, and it had like buttons and numbers and dials and gauges and reports and stuff on it. Like, you know, it looks legit. And he shows it to me like, look, what do you think of this? And I'm like, how do I freaking respond to this? Like, that is almost less than nothing to me. Like, it means nothing. Nothing on the page means anything, and you don't know what it means either. So it's like, did you successfully clone my company? No, you did not. Like, you created a facade of something that looks sort of like our company, plausibly, almost like a forgery of a company. But when you peel back even one layer, what you've created is like a web page with words on it, you know? Like, you did not create an application. You did not create a platform. You did not create infrastructure. You did not create 10 years of accumulated bug fixes that we've learned through very hard experience interacting with actual real world data. an AI just doesn't know about. So like that's nothing. It means nothing. And I hope that more people are having that experience where they produce a lot of stuff, a lot of content that actually is nothing. And they go, "Oh, I guess we don't have to democratize this." Like
Yeah. Or there's more to it than just the raw production.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
All right.
So I'm sorry. I had to rant on that, but I'm done now, I promise.
I'm going to think about that story for a while. That's very funny to me.
Yeah.
Because that is a question everyone's asking. Like, can someone just YOLO clone it? And it sounds like this person said, look, I did.
I did it. And I'm like, you think you did it. And I don't want to be the one to tell you didn't.
Yeah, that's like
because you're very influential.
You produced this impressive, that marble statue of David? Well, I just took a picture of it. So what is your stupid statue even worth?
Look what's on my phone. It's Michelangelo's David. I have it.
Yeah, I have it. You've been commoditized.
We democratized sculpting.
Yeah.
That's a really good metaphor. Okay.
All right.
We're getting long here. We're about to wear out our welcome in your earphones. So let's.
Yeah. Do you want to read our next question?
Yes. It comes from a listener named Anon E Mouse. Asks, should I share my tools? I keep building small local software tools to better test and debug the application I'm working on. The problem is that whenever I go above and beyond the assigned and expected work and try and responsibly check it in to version control and share it with the rest of the team, it gets bogged down in code reviews because it doesn't meet the team lead's vision because it wasn't part of the vision. It doesn't meet your vision because it wasn't part of the vision. I didn't expect you to build this, so it's not part of the vision. Okay.
My vision is more you do what I tell you.
Yeah.
And this is not part of that. That's very funny.
Okay. Continuing. Once I go through that process, though, it's mostly appreciated, but the team lead is under a lot of business pressure and often mentions that we need to focus. Yes. Maybe I'm not focused enough, but many of these little tools are things that make verification and delivery much smoother, like local testing utilities to verify and sample API endpoints that otherwise could only be called after prod deployments due to a lack of test data. Our partners like when we're able to show the output before deployment, and the rest of the team usually struggles with that. I feel a pressure to hide my tools, but then I feel sloppy for having a bunch of useful tools outside of version control. These are things like formatting output, running experiments, testing data for variations. Am I unfocused or just bad at articulating the value of these tools? Great question. Very timely.
I had this exact experience with one of my favorite engineers I've ever worked with. It was a year or two ago, and they built some local tool. The code base had a lot of strong patterns for kind of CLI utility things, and they were still fairly new, I think, to the company, and had a task to do something email related and built some little script to do some email verification stuff, and a completely different architecture from our existing kind of CLI tool stuff. And I did this. I said, no, it must use the same patterns, and we have ways of doing this already. The patterns it was following, to be clear, all of these were not like prod level things. These were all local dev tool things, but we just had a way to do it. It didn't work the same way. I said, no, change it. And then I can't remember if they ever did or not. But I felt bad afterwards because I realized that it probably doesn't matter. Like the architectural purity of this script you run to validate emails that get generated is not important. And this is like throwaway code that if there's a bug in it, we will just delete all of the code. It's not load bearing at all. So I ended up flip-flopping and just said, YOLO merge it. This is great. And then a few other things got merged in that were similar in that they were kind of local tools, workflow specific, didn't rigorously follow our existing patterns. And I decided this was fine because if it made life easier for even a couple engineers, that was worth the inventory cost of just having this code around in our repo, because mostly you didn't look at it.
Yeah. Like it doesn't get in your way of your day-to-day work.
Yeah. It's not in the core data plane, I guess, of application use.
The metaphorical data plane.
Yeah.
Which you might actually be working on a real data plane, but this is not a metaphor. And not an airplane. That's different.
User traffic is not flowing through anything affected by this code.
Well, to me, the biggest risk here is that you just have a bunch of accumulated stuff that no one ends up using. And it's just, it's not like in the way per se, but it's like, how do we do things around here? And I can't tell. It's like 100 script files in here.
Yeah, so I think you do still have to curate it at some point, and there's also a balance here between imposing your workflow on other people. Like you really
Mm-hmm.
like this pattern of writing a bunch of little tools and using them to verify your work, and I think that's very cool, and it makes me feel like I should do more of it.
Yeah.
But not everybody does that, and is the repo the place to put just stuff for you? I think that's kind of part of the pushback as well.
Right. And I'll tell you, the level of effort it takes to create a tool that works not just for you, but for everyone on your team, it's got to be like 10x. I can whip out
Yeah,
a little tool that I use, no problem. But
yeah,
getting it all documented, getting it to actually work on everyone's machines, and then getting it socialized so people even know it exists and when to use it, and getting them to adapt their workflows to it.
got to have help text and
Yeah, like
different failure modes of, oh, you start up the app and then you initialize the database. Oh, I just never do that.
right. The tool doesn't support that. Now I got to change it. Yeah, it's just so there is lost effort there, and I think that's like the one place where a tech lead would be wise to push back and say, "Look, I have no problem with you creating tools for yourself because that's fine and it's low cost. But if you want to now distribute them to the rest of the team, now I know that it's going to take you a lot more time, and it's going to take the team a bunch of time, and it might not be good. Like I don't know, they might not love it, and they might not use it, so they might not be like the ROI on you investing all this time might be low. And as an example of that, actually not an example of that, but I have a team member who's been working on a bunch of AI tools,
Mhm.
and it's taken months of work even with AI to create these tools because A, the landscape keeps shifting out from under him,
Mhm.
but B, it's like there's so much to integrate with and so many ways to learn how to do this, or like so many different ways to do things that, creating a general purpose tooling system. Like I tried installing the first few versions and it just failed, and now he's dealing with bug reports, from me
Yeah,
to
yeah,
fix this tool, this so-called like quick tool. But he's been doing like a lot of nights and weekends and stuff on it because he's just like super obsessed with it and is really interested in it. And I'm like, great, that's fine. And it is really
yeah.
cool what it does. But I think you do have to be a little bit more careful than I think some would be intuitively about this because it does have real cost.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't have a better answer than it depends because I've been on all sides of this. When I
Mm-hmm.
first joined my current job, there was a ton of tooling, most of which nobody used, and I just went through and deleted all the stuff nobody used.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I've added a bunch of my own tooling, and some of it gets used by other people, some of it doesn't, and so we kind of just have different tools that some subset are unused than the earlier subset of tools that were unused we had before I joined.
I think there is actually a market here for developer tool management where developers can quickly create and deploy tools to their team members. And it also keeps track of things like how much usage is this thing even getting? And like, should it be gone? Should this tool be deleted from our repository? That could be kind of cool.
Yeah, if bigger orgs will have kind of internal productivity teams, and they probably do some kind of measuring around that. Tell your tech lead, hang on, no, I think this is important, and I actually just need to pivot to building a bunch of analytics for these tools so I can demonstrate their impact.
Yes, I can tell the question behind your question is I need more metrics on these tools. So I'm going to build that for you.
Yeah. Give me a couple weeks. We'll be able to do a study, maybe do some A/B testing, and within a couple months, we should have enough data to know, are these tools used in order to help hit the release that's next week.
It's like we're a 4-person team, dude. And almost every company I've been at, I will usually create a Git repository that's just my username plus like tools or plus, utils or something. And that's where I just put all my stuff, where I develop little things like this. And of course, I've always done this, but I think nowadays you can do it a lot more and developers want to do it a lot more. And so, one of the main questions here from the question asker from Anon E. Mouse is, I feel bad having all these tools not in version control. And I'm like, yeah, you got to get that stuff into version control because you're going to lose it one day when you move to a new computer or your computer is stolen or upgraded and you realize, oh crap, I just lost all my favorite tooling. So yeah, I would put them in version control, but I would just put them in my own little Git repo and then, let people organically find out about what you're doing. And if there's demand, then go ahead and like do the extra work to get it out there. And I think that does a nice job of marrying the two problems in the middle.
That's a great idea. I like that idea a lot. Then if you kind of keep continue to show it off and say, I think this is cool, you should try it, etc. If people don't pick it up, fine. Their mental space is not cluttered.
Yeah.
The source code that they have to look at does not have extra stuff that they could get lost in.
Exactly.
But yeah, I like that. All right. Well, you have actually solved. I said it depends, and you had a solution.
It does not depend.
No.
This is the answer. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I will say one last thing on this. Well, maybe one thing and a sub thing. You were joking about building like a big analytic system for all the tools, but it might actually be cool to build some kind of, for your team, some kind of tool framework to let people plug tools in and register them so that they become discoverable by people. And it might even be really cool to register some of these with your AI so the AI can recommend using them or just know about them and use them on your behalf when it makes sense. You know, like, hey, AI, here's our like default prompt preamble for everything, and here's a set of tools you can use to do things like check my commit afterwards against these common database problems or something like that, you know? Like you could accumulate those. Then the developers, there's no developer cognitive load because AI is the only thing that consumes it. Number two, and this is something that I've tried to do in the past, is try to hook tools into places where the team already is so that they just naturally happen. And this is more about like how to get your stuff adopted without making the tech lead think that you're burning tons of time on it. Like, for example, 10 years ago plus, you know, we had a lot of Git hooks that were part of our like normal day-to-day work, and developers could add Git hooks. And so it's like if you wanted some kind of check to be run, anytime a developer did something, you could just plug it in there. So you didn't have to like go and get everyone to adopt it. You didn't have to go like write a bunch of help docs and go on like a marketing campaign in your team to try to get everyone to believe in you, you know, and raise like social capital for it.
Yeah.
Basically, like if you can find, there were ways to do that 10 years ago and there's ways to do it today that I think can get your stuff adopted without causing a bunch of extra pain and effort that your tech lead perceives.
I love it. All right. Have we answered the question?
I hope so, because we are out of time.
Yep.
We spent our token budget.
If you want to renew your token budget, our token budget. I don't know what the metaphor is here. What can people do if they want their own questions answered?
Yeah, go to softskills.audio and click the Ask a Question button where you can fill out our form. You can type in as many tokens as you want there. I don't think Google charges us per the token, thankfully. Although one day I'm sure they will.
Yep.
But thank you so much to everyone who writes in with your questions. We really appreciate them. Keep them coming.
Thank you so much for listening. We will catch you next week.